Hi, Jeremy here, Modern Vitality. In today's video, I'm going to share with you how to take a deep breath in 3 dimensions. This means the most full expansion that we can do in terms of taking in more and more air. Now, is taking in more air always a good idea? Sometimes not. I know that a lot of breathing practices are becoming more popular. There's some great books out like James Nestor's Breath, fantastic book. There's so much science about gasotransmitters and gas exchange. It's really interesting to learn all this in general. What I found with people who are dealing with complex chronic health conditions, right? Fibromyalgia, Lyme disease, mold exposure, chronic fatigue syndrome, adrenal fatigue, candida, Epstein-Barr, long haulers, anything autoimmune. There's so many of these, right? They just keep going. Any of these conditions, you don't always want to follow the general breathing advice for breath work. Okay, and the reason why is because if you already have an imbalanced system that's a little bit hypersensitive or doesn't respond the same way other people's tends to, right? I'm a reverse responder or things work backwards on me. And you start looking at any kind of pranayama or breath work or qigong techniques that are just taught to the general public. They may be okay for you, but they may be, because of your system's imbalance, they may actually work backwards on you. So a lot of the common, I know this is like so complicated, right? But this is the reality of it. A lot of the common practices of like taking a very deep breath aren't always going to be the most helpful thing depending on what your body's doing. So I've got another video separate about what to do when you catch yourself holding your breath all the time. It's something people say, oh, I catch myself holding my breath all the time. And some of the common advice is to take a deep breath. And that's actually part of the advice, right? That's part of it. And I'll get into that in the other video. I'm not going to cover that here too. But what you need to understand is that not always do you want to take the general breathwork suggestions. So there's my caveat, right? But I'm going to show you how to do this 3-dimensional super deep breath, should that be appropriate for your case, for your situation, because that's really what it's all about, is that specificity. That's how you're going to get better, right? It's not by copying what everybody else is doing, but by learning and finding out what are the things for you right now in whatever stage 1, 2, 3, 4 that you're in of getting better. All right, so let's get started. Taking a deep breath, we want to take it in through our nose if possible, right? Unless you've got like double sinus congestion or something like that. But whenever you can, take it in through your nose. So you're breathing in easily through your nostrils. And where this gets really interesting for me is looking at the 3D component, because you want to picture that your whole, like your chest, thorax, abdomen, this whole area, basically from the top of your ribs all the way down to your pelvic floor, okay? That is like a big old rectangle, like a refrigerator, right? A big rectangular solid. And you want to imagine that you've got 3 dimensions with that. So we've got top and bottom, we've got left and right, we've got forward and backward, right? So you got to keep track of all that dimensionality. So you're going to expand in 3D as you breathe. And how we can do this is break it down into 3 steps. And the first one most people are pretty good at is putting it all in the upper chest. So when you breathe in, you breathe through your nose and you just fill it. You just start practicing. Yes, you're using your mind to guide it. And also you are physically using the musculature of your body. So you should be moving and expanding when you do this kind of breathing. Otherwise, you're really not maxing out the physical space. So this isn't just an esoteric mental meditation. Okay, it's important to kind of distinguish those 2 things. So as you're breathing in through the nose, you're imagining the air come in and fill the top of your lungs, right? The top of your rib cage. And as you do that, you expand it. And what's happening now is we're getting the upward part of the rectangle, right? And we're also getting the front part. So we're expanding up and forward. And it's okay if you want to even jack your shoulders up. I know a lot of the common advice is to relax your shoulders, and I agree with that. And I'm a big advocate of that. And sometimes one of the ways to actually get them to relax is to jack them up first and then let them fall later when you breathe out. So there's a cycle, right? But when you're doing this, inhaling, getting the chest, now you've got the top and you've got the front. So remember, we've got that rectangle like a refrigerator. So we still got to do the sides and we've got to do the back and the bottom, right? And we'll come back to the sides in just a second. So I'm going to start with the top. Now we're at the bottom. And at the bottom, you have your abdomen, right? And you have your lower back, like where your kidneys are. And see if you can breathe in through your nose and drop that air all the way down to where your abdomen expands, right? So your belly came out. And you can even maybe feel, as you get more practice with this, you can even start to feel some of the muscles in your low back start to engage and wrap around your core, right? Because we don't just have abs like running up and down. We also have transverse abdominal muscles that attach all the way over in the low back. This whole thing is like one functional unit. It's like a balloon. So it expands everywhere. Now what you're going to feel is you're going to get that expansion right out to the sides, and then you may actually feel some expansion down too. Now here's the little catch on this, right? 3-dimensional breathing. What we want to do with our box, our refrigerator, is we want to keep it on the ground. So in order for the bottom to expand, it actually just creates a concentric type of tension, which just props the whole thing up just a little more. So what I mean by that is, in order to expand, you're actually going to lift your pelvic floor up, and you're going to provide a little bit of counter pressure there. This will help protect you from like prolapses and things like that. You don't want to be sending a lot of force down into your lower abdomen without also protecting your pelvic floor. Right, so let's try that again now with the lift. So you breathe in through your nose, air goes down all the way to the belly, and you can feel your abdomen expand and at the same time get a little braced and tight. And then your lower back you may feel engaged, and you're also lifting up your pelvic floor, right? So that we don't blow out the bottom of the fridge. Okay, very important. So we got that. We did the top, we did the bottom, now we'll do the middle. Now we've got, if you look back at the rectangular solid, we've done the top, we've done the front, right? We've done the bottom, we've done the back. And now we got to do just the sides. And where that is right here on the sides of your ribs. So when you're breathing in, you want to start to get this skill, and it can take a little while to develop this, but you can totally do it. And you may only feel, a centimeter, a half an inch, something of movement. It might be even smaller than that, but you want to start to expand your rib cage out to the sides. So when you breathe in, you imagine that air going in through your nose, down, 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 and then just pushing the sides of the rib cage out. So let's try that. And you get this little push, right? So we'll see if you can see my hands move. I'll try to keep them there. So I breathe in. See, it's little. This isn't hugely dramatic, but you just want that lateral expansion of the rib cage. Okay. So you may have to practice that and isolate these things and get good at all of them, and then we'll put them together. Because then what's going to happen is as I breathe in, right, I can take that air all the way down to my belly. I can meet it with my pelvic floor. Boom. And from there, I can expand my abdomen and my back. So I'm breathing in, there's the bottom, and then I take my sides and expand them out to the side, right? And then here comes the upper chest as you keep filling, right? And then what happens? We breathe out the opposite way, right? So you fill it from the bottom, da, 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 and then empty it from the top, da, 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 like that. You will find there's an extra breath you can take in here too. If you really are into expansive breathing, when you breathe into your belly and then you expand the sides and then you get to the chest, you'll find that the belly now has more space in it. So you can actually breathe into the belly again afterwards and like reload that. So I'll show you what that looks like, even though you might not see a lot of movement under my sweater here, but we'll demo it. So you're breathing in, belly expands, pelvic floor is up. You can feel it in your low back. Keep breathing in, pack those sides. Keep breathing in, chest goes up and out. And then what happens? I've got room in my belly. So I breathe in again, and then that's loaded. When your eyeballs get really big that you're full, and then you can empty it out from the top, let your shoulders drop. And that is a 3-dimensional deep breath, right? Try that if you feel like you need a deep breath. If you feel like you need to sigh, or you feel like you need to shake or shout, then this would not be probably the best thing for you to be doing today, right now. You need to be actually doing more exhale type work if that's your situation. Again, not medical advice, but a lot of times people get into these breathing exercises, but they don't know how they all the different variations are affecting each other and your underlying physiology. So for people with complex chronic health conditions, this kind of thing may be helpful if you are tired a little bit, right? But if you're stressed and wound up, I don't know, might not be the best thing. So I look forward to hearing some feedback here and there, at least within our group. Oh, by the way, I should tell you we've got a group, right? It's a health group, Modern Vitality Solutions and Support, and it's free to join, which you can apply. There's an application link. If your application looks good, I'll get you in as soon as I can. Might be a couple months, we fill up, but just keep an eye on your email. I'll let you know. And I don't email you for any other reason. Really, it's just, hey, here's the link for the group. That's it. I don't do all this spammy stuff. I don't have time, basically. I don't have time to answer YouTube comments. I don't have time to email blast you. I've got time to run my group, and I give really good answers in there. So you can ask me anything you want. Again, it's free to join. It's international. You got a lot of lovely folks, very positive vibe in there. Everybody's got a very straightforward and happy mindset about moving through even difficult phases, right? You can watch over my shoulder as people move through the stages 1, 2, 3, 4, immune, digestive, neuroadrenal, blood circulation. And you can see what happens in real time when people have triggers or setbacks or flare-ups and how we navigate that and troubleshoot that. You can watch all that You can really ask me anything in there and I'll give you my perspective. So again, lovely place to be, free to join. And in the meantime, you might consider subscribing to this channel, hit the button, and then you've trained the algorithm to show you something that matters, like this video that'll help you get your life back. Because that's really what it's all about at the end of the day. It's not about taking deep breaths. It's about getting you back to the things you enjoy and having fun and not being just smashed under some kind of complex diagnosis. All right. Hope this helps you. Let's get you feeling better. Cheers.